Hello, welcome to Space 2015. I'm Ivana. What is your name?
My name is Glenn Brewer.
How did you hear about this event?
Heard about this event when I went to a local comic book shop here called the Laughing Ogre. I think they had a flyer or something like that in there, and the owner told me about the show and suggested that I check it out, and that's how I got started.
How long have you been doing this?
Maybe about 10 years, maybe, I'd say. Maybe 15 years, maybe, altogether.
Now, are you an artist or a writer or both?
I am both, unfortunately. I have to do both. Just some of the ideas that I have, I need to tell them myself as opposed to trying to get somebody else to write them for me. So yeah, I do both.
How did you get started in this field of art?
Just always liked comics. Since I was a kid, my mom gave me some comics back in the day, and just liked the idea of being able to, as an illustrator, being able to tell a story with pictures. And comics are primarily pictures. There are words in them, but it's mostly pictures, and it's the job of the illustrator to communicate things that in normal prose or like written fiction. You have to communicate those things with what people see, in terms of images as opposed to words. So I just always liked the challenge. I always liked the concept of comics. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Have you had formal schooling?
Yes, I went to had a really good high school art teacher. That was amazing. I had a really good high school art teacher who, and this is before me, had a student who was a teacher, Pat Welch I think his name was, who was a teacher here at CCAD, who was a student of his, so he recommended CCAD to me, so that's how I ended up here, from a high school art teacher. Not here, but at CCAD, Columbus College of Art and Design, so that's where I went to college.
What is your style as an artist? Like your type of story or your messages?
I would say style-wise, I primarily work in black and white. I don't really do much color. Not that I don't know how to, but it's just something I just enjoy better. I can concentrate more on creating the work, because when you add color, there's a lot more elements to consider. So black and white, I don't know, I like it better. In terms of the type of art I do, I do more commercial art, so I do whatever a person needs me to do. Now, this is aside from comics. I'm just talking about just being an illustrator. So, yeah, pretty much a gun for hire. Pretty much, yeah.
Do you have a certain audience?
No, as it relates to my comic books, no. My audience is pretty diverse. Primarily, and I would even say it's not even just people who like comics, because I have readers who never read comics before but saw my book, they liked it, and they ended up picking it up, but they wouldn't consider themselves comic fans at all. So yeah, I don't really have a really set demographic for my work.
How do you market your products?
Now I use social media, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, websites, YouTube, any of those tools that I can. Back in the day, we used to use kind of word of mouth and getting your books in stores, but now you can kind of go directly to the consumer with the internet and social media. So
How do you publish your work?
I publish my books myself using this POD, or print on demand technology. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 15 years. When I first started, if you wanted to put a book out, you had to purchase a set number of books in advance. So a printer couldn't even really get the printer running unless you did like 1,000 copies back in the day, and you had to buy those books, warehouse those books. So you had all this inventory that you may or may not sell. Whereas with print on demand, you print what you need. So for this convention, I printed 50 books. That's all I have. I need more, I can print more. And you can sell directly to the consumer. People can purchase the book directly online, as opposed to having to, oh, I'm sorry, This is the comic I'm talking about, and printed this with the print-on-demand technology, and it looks just like traditional, like a traditionally printed comic, just as slick, just as professional. But I didn't have to invest in a bunch of inventory that I wouldn't need right away. So.
What advice would you give to somebody who has an interest in this field of art?
I would say. Be humble and be confident. Kind of try to wed the two together. Be humble enough to recognize when someone who knows maybe a little bit more than you do is giving you constructive criticism, and be confident enough that when you have people who are giving you criticism that isn't necessarily constructive, that you can kind of brush that off and keep moving forward with your work. So that's what I'd say.
What makes this event different from the others you have attended in the past?
I would say it's smaller and it's more focused on the indie creators, whereas if you went to like a bigger con, the emphasis is more on the quote-unquote stars, the actors and the video games and stuff like that, where comics conventions are becoming less and less about comics and more about this kind of pop culture, anything, television, movies, video games, and then the space for the comic creator, particularly the indie comic creators, becoming smaller and smaller. Whereas here, it's completely 100% about the comics creator. So it's about the comics. So people looking for comics, they can come here and buy it. So.
How much importance do you place on networking, and what kind of networking do you use?
I would say networking in the traditional sense. I don't do a whole lot of that because you can just do so much stuff. You can do so much online. If you have a comic like I have, this Scar Diary is my comic, so I created a Facebook page for it, and then you can kind of collect and aggregate, people who are interested in what you're doing. And once you get them all there, you can. If I come out with another book, they're already there. If I'm looking for someone who's interested in collaborating, 9 times out of 10, I've pulled them into my Facebook page so I can reach them there. So networking in the traditional sense is kind of, not saying it's not important, but you can just do so much stuff online now. So it is important, but I do most networking online, to answer the question.
Hey Glenn, if we want to buy your new book, show that. Where will we find it? Where is it at?
This is my Scar Diary comic. It's a collection of a 6-series issue series I did back from 2000 to 2003. You can get it online if you go to Amazon.com. You can just type in a Scar Diary, 2 words. It'll pop up and it'll be the first option that in the list that pops up. I'm on Facebook, a Scar Diary comic. So either of those 2 ways will get you to me. Facebook page, if you go to the Facebook page, I can find you there. But you can definitely get it online at Amazon. Order it right offline. So.
Really nice. Thank you for your time,
No problem.
and appreciate that. And I love your artwork. It's really cool.
Thank you.